Hello, hello, hello. I am Grace Webb, and today I want to tell you about an app that has been an absolute lifesaver called AppBlock. Once you set it up, it will prevent you from opening certain apps and websites that you find yourself spending hours on so you can actually take back some control of your life if you're anything like me and you get distracted incredibly easily. And I want to give you a few examples of how it can work. So here are the basics. On the left, you can easily see this is how I currently have it set up for myself. At least a few of the things I have set up. For the weekend, I have it preventing me from spending more than 3 minutes on certain apps per hour. I should be asleep. It just blocks me out of everything, but like during the time I should be asleep. And of course, I have a few schedules set up for when I am at school. Now, when you first set up a schedule, you will immediately be faced with if you want to make it a block list or an allow list. Think of the block list as a black list, as in everything else is allowed except for what you select, and the allow list as the white list, as in nothing is allowed except for what you select. Here I will be showing you a simple block. I will show you the block list because I have found that to be the most helpful for me. And once you do set up a block list, you will be presented with some apps, and you will have these 3 tabs up here: apps, websites, and keywords. Apps, obviously, you have your various apps right here. And for websites, you have this over here where it has websites that are often blocked. If a website that you want to prevent yourself from going on to isn't in the list of websites that it will block, you yourself can put in those websites, and it'll make sure to block all those websites from your phone's browsers. Now, once you have selected the apps and websites you want to block, and for this example, I have blocked Bloons Battles 2, Bloons Tower Defense 6, and Boom Beach. And once I click the OK button and move on to the next thing, it will ask me what conditions I want to use to block those apps. You can choose just like certain times of the day. You can choose that it'll just block you out depending on where you are. You can choose it to block you out depending if you're connected to Wi-Fi or not. You can also make it so that you are only limited to a certain amount of time per day or hour. And launch count, which is similar to the usage limit, except if you're finding yourself opening and closing an app a lot, this will make it so that if you try to open and close an app more than the time you have designated, it will block you out of that app. And now for the test schedule. As I said, I chose these 3 apps, and I chose time as detailed here. And now, this should take effect given the time, like during that time period. And let's see how it works. Here we are. As you can see, the time on my phone is currently during the time we have set up the block list for. as you can see here, between 4:30 and 6:30. It is currently 5:16, which is between that time on Sunday. Now look what happens when I try to click Bloons Tower Defense 6. This pops up. And because of that, it is blocking me out entirely from Bloons Tower Defense 6. And I can't do anything to it until either the timer is up and it's past 6:30, or if you hit the edit, pause, or delete button on that schedule. Now you may be thinking, but wait, if I have those options, doesn't that kind of defeat the whole point? Well, AppBlock has a way to make sure you have no way of editing that stuff when they are on. And that is where strict mode comes in. Strict mode is a very, very useful feature on this app. Because if strict mode is on, like, it will block you from editing your schedules so long as it is active. And on top of that, you can also make it block other options, as in disable app uninstalling, so you can't bypass it by uninstalling and reinstalling an app. You can also make it block device settings, because you do have to let it have some control over your phone. I personally don't use this because going to the settings is a chore in the first place, so I know I will not do that easily. And on top of that, you also have the access method, as in what will turn on strict mode and what will allow you to turn it off. I commonly use the follow schedules option because, as it says, it is a hard option and there's not much you can do about it. But I would also recommend the pin code, despite it calling that an easy method. And the way I would suggest using the pin code is ask someone else to input the pin code that you have no idea what it is. Of course, you would want it to be someone you trust and someone who also knows that you are struggling with this, so that if something is an absolute emergency, they can unlock it, but only they can unlock it. You can't. And once you do fully activate strict mode and it is currently on, the edit tab will be very limited and you just outright can't pause or delete the schedule. For some of you, I'm sure you're thinking, well, if I'm following the schedules, and I have a point in between schedules that the strict mode isn't active, and so I can turn it off and thus edit things freely, and thus I would start to lose control again. I've had the same reaction. I've had the same thought. And now I will introduce you to the ultimate failsafe. I have it so that between the hours of 8 a.m. or of 11:30 a.m. and 8 a.m., I am completely blocked out of the app itself. And yes, part of app block means that if you set the application that it blocks to app block, it will still work 100% of the time. You just can't open the app to edit it. I would highly recommend that you have at least some duration during the day where no schedules are currently running and you can access the app. Because sometimes you will be needing to change the schedule, but you don't want to make it easy. And that's why I, personally, block app block during that time of the day. The only time I can access the app is from 8:01 a.m. to 11:29 a.m., which is not a time I am often awake at or willing to mess around with app block on my phone that much. Now, that is my personal choice for the best app blocking app on your phone. But what about your computer, your home PC? Something that you probably spend hours on and don't even realize. There is an application for that too. That application is known as Freedom. It has the picture of a butterfly for its logo. And as you can see here, I already have a few schedules set up. I definitely wanted to kick me off of just about everything between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10 a.m. to ensure that I go to sleep at a good time. And for the same reason, I also have it blocking me out of the computer from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. When I should be at school or doing homework. And for the semester, that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I, of course, have it also set to something similar for the days I don't have school, but slightly more lenient then. And as AppBlock has, Freedom does have a locked mode. And as this says, locked mode makes it impossible to edit your block lists and devices during a session. So it is very similar to the follow schedule strict mode of AppBlock, where if this is checked and any of these schedules are active, it just flat out prevents you from editing any schedules. Now, I will give you a small example on how it works. For 5 minutes, Freedom will block all websites and all the desktop apps I have told it to block on my main computer, which is an Alienware. We can click Start. 5 minutes left. And it also pops up down here. If we try to open another website and say, go to Reddit, it does that. Like it freaks out a little bit, and it brings up this page instead. And you may have also noticed that it said that Steam is blocked, and that is because it is one of the apps I have told it to block. If I try to open it, it just, like, Freedom continuously cancels it and will not allow me to start it up during any time. Now let's end the session for now, because I want to show you one last thing. Say you're in the middle of a game, or you're simply browsing Steam. Once a schedule starts, as we will see again, Steam is currently open, start, and Steam will close. Freedom will close the Steam app on your regard. And let me see if there's something I can do, whether it is active. Manage blocked desktop apps. Even if Freedom is running, you can see which desktop apps you have told it to block when it finds any of them open. As you can see here, Steam is one of those apps. And as you saw earlier, if we tried to open it at all, nothing would happen. And the same would happen if we tried to open, say, Battle.net. Yep, Battle.net has been blocked. Any of the apps you select, it will block. And just in the case that an app you wanted to block isn't visible yet, all you have to do is start up that app and then it will appear in this app list, and then you can select it. And I find all of this incredibly useful. And the last thing I will say is that both AppBlock and Freedom do require a subscription, as in you do need to pay money for them to be useful, but I'm pretty sure that the price for both of them is like at most $10 a year, which is a steal for this kind of control that it allows you to have again, when you yourself don't have much self-control. I will provide a link for both AppBlock and Freedom in the description, so you are sure to get the correct apps. And I thank you all so much for watching this. I have been Professor Glaceon, and I shall see you all in my next class. Bye!